Okay, the last two performance concepts, here's my assistant, the lovely Wyatt. Yay! The last two performance concepts we're going to be discussing today are sense memory and emotion memory. And we have these two come to us from a Russian playwright, director, performer, acting coach. Like, he did a lot, okay? His whole life was theater. His name is Konstantin Stanislavski. Probably should have led with that. Oh well. And he kind of lived and worked during the time when realism was the way to go, right? Everybody was really into this idea of, okay, for performance to be good, it should be as realistic as possible. And Stanislavski agreed with that and believed that as well. And he came up with a bunch of exercises and ways of trying to make sure that performers were able to access authentic spaces to make sure that their performances were real and authentic every time, right? Reliably. And a lot of his work collected together is referred to as the method. So if you ever hear anything about Stanislavski and the method, that's what people are talking about. A lot of the actors that you see in films today have studied his work, have studied his concepts and his ideas and done his exercises, or have studied from someone who studied with him. So his work has gone very, very far, and it has been super influential in modern film and theater. All right, so two concepts. We're only going to worry about two of them today, but they are things that are super, super helpful when you are working on performance. And so I wanted to make sure that we had discussed them at some point so that you could utilize these as you are preparing for your performance. So the first one is emotion. Nope, I'm going to start with sense memory, okay? So the idea of sense memory is that if I want my performance to be authentic for physical stuff, then I need to tap into my physical memory, okay? So one of the examples that's given frequently is the coffee cup example, all right? So the idea is if I have coffee every morning, which you all know I do, okay, so maybe if I have my coffee every morning, I am so used to that experience of having that coffee every morning. Some might call me addicted. That's okay. At least it's not something that's worse. Anyway, I know that experience so super well that I could, in my imagination, recreate that experience without the physical stimulus. So for example, I know, right, my cup is this size. I use this cup every day. I know how it feels on the outside. I know the smoothness. I know God, what is this thing called? Oh my God, it's lumpy. I don't remember what it's called. The emblem. There we go. Let's call it an emblem. I know how the emblem feels under my fingers, right? So I know that I have that physical touch sense of the cup. I know how the coffee smells. I know how it tastes. I know the standard temperature, and I know that temperature where it's like perfect, and the one where it's a little bit too hot right at the very beginning, and the one where it's like way too cold when it's been sitting on my desk most of the day, and I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off, and now I'm finally getting to drink it again, and now it's sad because it's kind of cold. By the way, it's like perfect right now, just saying. And, right, so I know all these things. I know them in my head, the scent, the smell, the taste, the touch, all of it. Those are my senses. And so when you're dealing with sense memory, you're dealing with stuff that's in your senses, that you feel, that you respond to physically. And the idea behind sense memory is that maybe I'm on stage and I need to recall a time, or I need to portray something that's happening to me physically, but obviously it's not actually happening. A great example is, I do not remember the name of the play or the author at all. I'm so sorry. But there is a scene in this play by such and such author where it's a mom and a daughter, and the daughter had this opportunity to leave. She's been the caretaker for the mom because the mom can't take care of herself for like years and years and years. She gets an opportunity to get out of that situation. It's kind of emotionally abusive and everything. It's not a good situation. She gets an opportunity to get out, and she's going to run away with this guy that she's in love with, right? Well, her mom finds out about it and destroys a crucial letter that the girl needed from the guy in order to be able to run off with him, right? And so she ruins the girl's opportunity to get out. Well, the girl, when she finds out, is so devastated and so furious that she grabs her mom's hand and she sticks it on the hot stove and burns her mom's hand, and then throws burning oil on her mother and burns her whole mother's body. Very morbid. Yes, absolutely, right? However, if you're actually portraying this on stage, we don't really want to burn any actors, right? This is not ancient Rome. We're not trying to like actually kill people or hurt them. So therefore, all of that would have to be faked. But the actor needs to be able to portray that in a way where it's believable, right? So if I'm going to, why did I pick this example? Anyway, if I'm going to try to portray that, is there a time in my life where I've ever been burned on anything? I have never had hot oil thrown on me. I have never had, my hand held on a stove, like, holy crap, right? I've never experienced that. However, I do have the experience of the time when I was little, when I thought, like, we had like a charcoal grill or whatever, right? And I thought the lid was cooled off enough, and I like touched part of the lid, and it burned my thumb really bad, and I had like a blister and everything. Like, it was substantial burn. Okay, that's probably the most intense burn experience that I had. I did have one other experience that I can think of that might relate to this, and that was where I was cooking pork chops. I was doing like some fried pork chops on the stove, right? And some of the oil splattered up on my arm and burned some patches on my arm. And I had like, I don't think they were blisters or whatever, but maybe they were blisters, because they did definitely like they like popped, and yeah, okay, so they were blisters. Anyway, so I got some blisters on my arm from that, and they healed and everything, but they were very painful. So that's the closest physical memory I have, right? I'm digging into my memories, my sense memories, my feeling memories, my taste memory, my touch memory, my sight memory, all of those things, right? And I might be able to use that, although it's not nearly as horrific as what this character went through, but I might be able to use that to access some understanding of what that might feel like. And then I can imagine how much worse it could be if it were my whole body and if it were my whole hand, right? And use that to respond with the appropriate amount of agony and horror and screaming, that would be called for in a situation like that. So that is your sense memory, using memories of physical senses, stuff that you've interacted with, to help you recreate reality on stage without the actual impetus, because I'm not going to get actually burned with oil, right? So I need something that I can use in my imagination and in my brain to recreate that scenario for myself so that I can respond with authentic pain to a situation in which I'm not actually getting hurt. All right? And I know you guys can do this because you use this on your parents all the time, because my kids use it on me. Anyway, all right, so that is sense memory. I'm going to cut the video here so it's not crazy long, and I'll see you in the next one for emotion memory.